I'm speaking today with Pekka Kuusisto, the renowned Finnish violinist celebrated for his innovative approach to classical repertoire. This is someone who redefines the classical label by blending traditional repertoire with folk, jazz, and electronic music, who engages directly with the audiences at his concerts, frequently breaking into improvisation, and who often comes up with groundbreaking projects that shed new light on well-established works. His latest example of this is Willow, an album featuring a new interpretation of Vaughan Williams's The Lark Ascending, alongside music by Ellen Reid, Caroline Shaw, and songs from Sam Amidon, arranged by Nico Muley. The album will be launched with a performance at King's Place on the 24th of February. Maybe you could start off by telling me exactly how it works. So this is a reimagining of Vaughan Williams's Lark Ascending, is that right?
Well, not exactly. We play it exactly as it is written. We don't change anything about it. Okay. I think one thing that might come across differently is, as you know, a lot of the recorded kind of central repertoire in concert music has, in my estimation, it's kind of been affected by certain kinds of performance standards that were probably at least partly influenced by early recording technology. And this is kind of where it becomes my theory. When things were a little bit more difficult to capture properly on shellac or early recording methods, it became more important for things to be quite kind of underlined in the performance. So in other words, nothing was really subtle, nothing was very quiet. Mm-hmm. Even when a composer says sul tasto pianissimo, you kind of still had to pronounce it properly, mm-hmm, with your instrument, just in order to get it captured on the discs. And it also might have something to do with concert venues becoming bigger and bigger, that a lot of the repertoire that on the page looks like it's meant to be whispered into the ear of the listener is instead really projected and kind of underlined. That's one thing that we tried to not do in the way we recorded the Vaughan Williams, because in fact so much of it is written at such a quiet dynamic that, mm-hmm, it's not kind of like it's not grandiose. It's more on the shy side, more on the sensitive side. So that's I think one thing that might come across a little bit differently with the performance of the Lark, but we don't, as I said, we don't change anything. I think we would probably get in trouble with the publishers and the family of Ralph Vaughan Williams if we did.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you are trying to reveal something about the work, aren't you? You're trying to reveal, I think, the radicalism of this work.
Well, I guess that's one way of saying it. I mean, it's a very gentle kind of radicalism. Mm-hmm. I think.
Tell me about this radicalism.
What happens is that, well, harmonically, I think it's much more ambiguous than what I kind of grew up listening to various recordings and performances of it. I always felt it's kind of very straightforward and beautiful in a sort of romantic kind of way, or beautiful in the kind of way that Gone with the Wind, yeah. it's beautiful. But now when I started looking at it with my own weird way of looking at things, and my friends at the Norwegian Chamber Orchestra, we felt that, leaving more of it in the shadows would probably bring out a little bit more the architecture of the piece. That it's sort of, there's an element of it that's not just, I'm walking in the countryside and it's so beautiful. It's more an installation than a narration, if that makes sense.
You mean in the sense that it's somehow more of an atmosphere than a narrative, or?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
So if you have like Arvo Pärt at one end of a scale and Richard Strauss at the other end of the scale, maybe, I don't know if those are good examples, but maybe you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Then this is, you kind of nudge it a little bit more towards Arvo Pärt, where the listener is not constantly offered something to think about, or a story where the listener gets given every now and then a moment to let the music become a mirror for what they are going through.
Okay.
Maybe that's more the point.
Amazing, because it's interesting, because I guess I would have thought of it as one of those storytelling pieces, this imagining this lark taking off and soaring off, but
Yeah,
that's not the way that you see it.
not really. And just to make sure that I don't get misunderstood, I I I'm not sure that the way we do it is the right way.
Uh-huh.
I don't think there is a right way. Like often when you talk about interpretational views, like now, you end up easily sounding like, I'm the only one who knows how this piece should be played. That's not at all what I'm trying to say. Possibly it's like we all play music and we all receive music depending on what's going on in our lives.
Mhm.
And at the moment when we were capturing Lark Ascending onto our recording engineer's hard drive, um, I personally, and I think many people in the ensemble also who are very close friends of mine, felt like this is a good moment to let music just sort of sit there every now and then, not try to, I think I generally have a tendency of pushing music in all kinds of directions most of the time, but this was a particular period where it felt better to try to find the elements in Lark that are more lighting
Hmm.
or a temperature or a kind of, you know, architecture of the space that you're in, and just kind of see how it reflects on what's going on in everyone's lives. And
Okay.
it's kind of hard to it's hard to explain.
Yeah. One
But
second.
yeah,
Hold the thought. I'm going to plug my computer in. There we go. That gave a moment of reflection.
exactly. No, we have this thing. We've got white-tailed eagles, or we call them sea eagles
Mhm.
here, and they always show up. Like we're on the mainland, but just barely. Just like 100 meters that way is where the first island starts. So
Mhm.
the eagles, kind of in the summertime, they spend most of their time out in the on the edges of the archipelago.
Mhm.
That's where they find uh, uh, berries, birds, and fish that they can chew on. But
Mhm.
in the wintertime, there's a lot of people who do ice fishing. So you drill a hole in the ice and then you fish, and the ice fishing people are very picky about the size of fish that they want. So if they catch something that's too small, they just basically leave it on the ice
Mhm.
for the eagles to use as a sort of buffet.
Mhm.
Um, and they're here basically every day, and it's majestic. Because I'm about 172 centimeters tall, and the
Mhm.
distance between the wingtips of one of those it can be two and a
It's
half
amazing.
meters.
Gosh.
So
Do you think of them when you play the Lark Ascending?
of the eagles, no.
No, you don't. Okay, so I thought
it
that
would
maybe
be
that
a
was
it would be a very different
I thought that's
piece
where you
of
were going with
music.
this.
Yeah.
A little
No, but
bigger.
actually, one thing when that was funny a couple of years ago, Tom Ades wrote a piece for me called Merchentense, and
Mhm.
there's a movement called a skylark, and it's one of these moments where you have several of them, and they're all like,
Mhm.
and then they disappear.
Uh,
And it was wonderful because it's, of course, I suppose naturally to Tom Ades, he would have felt the presence of the lark ascending somewhere in the back
mhm.
of his head, and then he writes his own lark piece, and
Which is
it's
completely
absolute,
different.
it's manic. It's
Could not be
extremely
more,
busy music.
yeah, it could not be more different. Okay. Well, I mean, when
Um,
you hear the lark, do you actually think of birds when you play or hear the lark ascending, or do you not? Do you think of something completely different?
well, of in 2022, I played it at the proms with the with the Finnish radio and Nick Holland, and because of that, I got to visit the Country File TV show, and they took me to the place where Ray Vaughan Williams grew up,
Mhm.
which is now a kind of a museum. And it's on a hill, and you get this kind of diminuendo of detail, looking kind of out, and it's impossible not to think of that place in some way a little bit whenever I play Lark now. But most of the time, I um in the bit that the violin plays in the beginning and in the middle and
Yeah.
at the end,
Yeah. Yeah.
um, it's easy to. I think what happens easily is you try to make that into the song, so you make it very busy and kind of chirpy.
Mhm.
He writes sul tasto pianissimo all the way until the orchestra chord stops. When you're that bit, that's the first time you get to take the bow away from being on top of the fingerboard. So I think it's just the doodle-doo. I see or I hear it more as just the feathers, the wingtips
Mhm. Ah,
reacting to the air current that the bird is flying through. If you kind of want to put a picture to it, and the it's just the shape of the flight path.
mhm.
I think thinking about the whatever the bird is thinking about would probably make the piece sound very hectic.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just constantly looking out for insects.
But okay,
Uh,
but not chirping, no chirping.
no, I don't really hear a lot of chirping in
Mm.
it. It's more the mist, I suppose. It's more the kind of the mist in the morning and the filter that it puts on the light.
Yes. Well, I mean, I sort of think of it as a piece which is appropriate for a memorial. I mean, I think of it almost like a memorial to the First World War in some ways,
Yeah, I
like
suppose.
empties of devastated battlefields and that kind of thing come up for me. And I know for you that this whole concert that you're performing at King's Place is a memorial to your brother, isn't it?
I wish it would be only him. It's
I
kind
thought
of
it was
like
sort of in memory of your
my
brother. No?
my entire family basically. So when
Mm.
we were recording the Lark, my brother had just passed away and my mom was in hospice care. It was just like the most kind of this kind of time where everything feels like a Christopher Nolan film, where the world is just bending and there's nothing you can do about it. Uh, so yeah, that happened, and then my dad also passed away just about a year ago.
Oh.
So this kind of the making of the album took a long time because when we recorded the Lark, we didn't have any idea of what else was going to go on the album. So
Mhm.
we recorded Lark. My brother had just died. My mom died like 2 days after the sessions,
Mhm.
and then we just let the recording sit for a while, because I thought it's not the right time to make any decisions about what to do with the recording or what to surround the Lark Ascending with. And then gradually some ideas started popping up. Ellen Reed had written a piece for my brother, or for the memory of my brother, and then I started thinking about the things about Lark Ascending that could have some relationship with traditional song or traditional music. So Sam Amidon came along. He's an old friend of mine, a folk singer, originally from Vermont, but he lives in London now with his family. And then also some kind of similarities between some of the harmonic language in A Plan and Elevation by Caroline Shaw, and the fact that it is about the kind of the architecture of a garden at
Mhm.
at the Dumbarton Oaks estate. Um, and that then kind of became the thing, and we finally knew what we were going to record. So we committed the rest of the pieces to a hard drive. Um, I think early last year, and
Mhm.
and now we have an album, and the concert at King's Place is just celebrating the
The sort of the
us
launch,
us
yeah.
finally getting rid of this project
Okay.
after nearly 4 years.
Okay, wow, yeah, that's a relief, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm wondering what that juxtaposition of pieces achieves. Do they reveal something about each other, those works?
I do believe so. Yeah,
Yeah,
at least
what do you think it does?
that's well, of course, like as we know, music consumption or the consumption of recorded music is a really tricky thing to predict or to steer. So I don't know if anyone's ever going to listen to the entirety of this album in one go. But
Mhm.
I still think that that's a kind of dream that one can pursue when designing an album. You know, we were also considering just releasing Lark Ascending as a download on its own and being
Definitely.
done with it. But then we thought we should build a family for it.
Hmm.
I think most definitely Sam Amidon's songs, or songs that are based on traditional songs that he's first, you know, worked on, and then Nico Muley arranged them for mixed ensemble for Sam's albums. And then a gentleman called Bernard Rofe, who works at the Australian Chamber Orchestra, uh, he then arranged them for strings a few years ago.
Hmm.
I think if you just compare the emotional weight of Lark Ascending, or the potential emotional weight, I suppose, because everything depends on the listener, and then play Sam's songs next to Lark, something I think something quite beautiful happens, because it does feel like they're kind of it's from the same well in
Hmm.
in in some way. And even the most devastating stories that Sam sings get a sort of like automatic natural flow, or a kind of lightness almost from his particular way of delivering them.
Hmm.
So that's
This
I
is
think an interesting.
combination, so this sort of combination of something very, very haunting, but also light. I mean, that's, I
Yeah,
guess,
and
yeah.
I guess, and also the feeling that I think, like when you said about the Lark, that it feels like a proper piece of music for a memorial.
Mhm.
I think, and again, like with somebody like Arvo Pärt, for example, a lot of the music feels like this has existed for much longer than Ray Vaughan Williams or Arvo Pärt. That this is a reaction to music that's yeah, like a much earlier music. I don't know exactly how to say it, but
Mhm.
something in the movement of the harmony, maybe because of the way we're built, because of the kind of music that people in countries like ours get exposed to during a lifetime. There's a sort of like a semi-religious uh temperature
Mhm.
to it. Sometimes, often you find in Bert, I think there's a sustained note in the middle of moving harmonies,
Mhm.
and a little bit of that I think also exists in some of the works of Mr. Vaughan Williams. Maybe that's one
Mhm.
effect, and just kind of the sense that if you think about the very opening of Lark Ascending, the way the strings are orchestrated, it feels like this could be choral music
Mhm.
that's been translated to an orchestra. I don't know. I'm just kind of, throwing out fishing lines,
Mhm.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe
but
there's
this
something.
idea of working with a music that has a message from way back, I think
Mhm.
it's something that Sam's songs and or Sam Amido's songs and Lark Ascending has in common. And then most certainly, like Caroline Shaw's piece on this album and in the concert, it uses a bit of Mozart and a bit of Ravel. There might even be a bit of Haydn in there, but also in the moments where it's purely Caroline Shaw, she's writing in a way that does put people in a sort of longer temporal context than just sitting here listening to this music. It feels like
There's a
this is,
tradition. There's a
yeah,
heritage behind it. Yeah.
exactly, and possible some there's a folklore feel to a lot of Caroline's piece as
Mhm.
well.
Yeah, yeah. It is very much in Vaughan Williams. It feels sort of the earth somehow.
Yeah, yeah, and then there's this kind of gamba strumming moment, and yeah,
Mhm.
and musics that fade in and fade out, kind of almost like in Sibelius or something, where the kind of the acoustic of our music is written into the score. That there's the bit that does the actual musical thing, and then there's like an odd timpani roll here and here or there, or like an odd tremolo in the violas that just kind of sits there, creating a space for, or kind of like a frame for the actual core kind of nugget of
Mhm.
of the music. It's a wonderful thing. And then of course we've got Ellen Reid's piece left, which is an interruption. It's a great piece with a lot of humor. It's very dense, and I think it's, well, she wrote it for a concert that took place in Los Angeles, quite soon after my brother had died, and she just, because we were chatting, we were writing to each other quite a lot. She knew what was going on, so she just kind of decided to dedicate it to him.
Mhm.
And and then of course that will put a weird spin of its own kind to whenever I play it.
Mhm.
Um, on the album, we tried to find a place for it that would, that way it would be kind of like suddenly all the windows being opened, or
Okay. Okay,
for, you know,
that's the effect of it.
yeah, it's the wind that blows through the house, and then Sam starts singing, and everything is kind of, you know, "Ooh, we made it. Let's sing and dance. It's
We're
gonna be
alive.
fine."
We're
Yeah,
we're all still alive here.
yeah.
Yeah. I see. I see. Wow.
And then
Okay.
some of Sam's songs have a religious undercurrent too. Some of them have histories, like backgrounds in I think one of them might be from the Georgia Sea Islands, which used to be a slave colony. And then people on the slave colony had interactions with people on the mainland, and the music kind of got, their musics got married. And then after that period in American history ended, hopefully for good, it's hard to tell right now, um, the music kind of kept evolving. And
Mhm.
then at some point, a young man called Sam Amidon from Vermont came along and picked up these tunes and made them his own.
Mm.
It's a wonderful
Okay. So yeah, so
thing.
it is this mixture of eclectic ingredients that do come from the same well, as you say. Yeah, so it'll be yeah,
Yeah,
very interesting to hear them together. Gosh.
yeah. I think it works, but
Mm,
as I said earlier, it's completely up to the listener. We all receive these things in our own different weird ways.
Well, I mean, I really look. Well, I hope I can hear it. 24th of February.
Yeah, I
20th.
think you're right.
The album is 20th of February. The performance is on the 24th of February. So
Ah,
I will look forward to it, Pekka. I will try and come. I would love to hear it.
yay!
Yeah. Well, it's such a pleasure talking to you again. And this fantastic scenic backdrop. It makes me want to come and do some ice fishing. Um,
Yeah, it's actually it's funny. So like south is roughly that way.
okay.
So this time of the year, the sun rises right behind where I'm sitting, and then it just barely makes it over the trees and kind of crash lands over there.
Mhm.
And in the summertime, because we are, I mean, this is southern Finland, but we're still on the globe. We are quite far up north.
Mhm.
In the summertime, the sun, where it passes, when it passes this point, it's way up there already in the sky. It's
Um,
one of my favorite things about living outside of the city, outside
I
of
can.
light pollution. That you, the moment you look out the window in the morning, your brain kind of instinctively knows what part of the year you're in,
Yes,
even
yes.
without all the snow. But just the amount of light and the time of day is it's wonderful. Gives
Yeah.
you a slower pulse.
I bet I need an excuse to come and interview you in person up there.
Let's do it.
That
Let's
would be
plan on
good.
it.
That would be good. Pekka, so nice to see you again. Hopefully I will see you again soon.
I
Um,
hope so too.
hope everything goes well until the performance.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Speak to
Great.
you soon. Bye bye. Bye
Peace.
bye.
Mm.